Hello everyone, thanks so much for listening to Diz Connected, an unofficial Disney podcast of magical proportions. I'm Whit Laxon, your Disney enthusiast host, and coming up...
This film went to dark places that Marvel has never gone before, and I really wasn't expecting them to go as far as they did.
To Infinity War and beyond. It's our spoiler review of Marvel's biggest crossover event yet. I would say it's really Thanos' movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Plus, we're talking House of Mouse news you need to know in the Disney Download. Hey guys, what's up? It's Whit, back for another episode of Diz Connected, and joining me as always via Skype is my friend and fellow Disney enthusiast, Katie Carter. Hey Katie.
Hey Whit.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
It's going. It's been a minute since we've talked all things Disney. You were on my other podcast recently, just a week ago actually, reviewing or previewing Summer Movie Season 2018, so go check that out, Whit from Whit Radio. You can hear it on iTunes and YouTube and all that. But today, we are getting into a review of Avengers Infinity War. We'll also hit on some news topics in a bit. We've got PIXAR Fest going on at Disneyland. Animal Kingdom celebrated a pretty big birthday. And a few more things in TV and movie news we'll get to. But yeah, we've got to start with our review of Avengers Infinity War. So, Katie, are you ready?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. So, Katie, you are the Marvel fan, the bigger Marvel fan between the two of us, for sure, no doubt. So would you like to set up the story of Infinity War?
So, Infinity War is kind of the culmination of a villain who has been teased since the very first Avengers movie in 2012, and that would be Thanos. And Thanos is this guy from the planet Titan, and he is setting out to collect all of the Infinity Stones, and they're these mystical gems. They each have different powers, like there's the Soul Stone and the Time Stone, and I think one's called like the Power Stone. So I think there are 6 different Infinity Stones that he is out to collect, and the Avengers have to stop him from getting them, because once he has all 6, it gives him the power to really control or even destroy the whole universe. So basically this whole movie is the Avengers and the other superheroes in the Marvel universe coming together to stop him, and we have them kind of breaking off into different groups. So we have like Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man going into space. We have Thor and Rocket and Groot going to create this axe that can supposedly defeat Thanos. We've got back on Earth Captain America and Black Panther and that whole gang. So they're all kind of doing these different things to try and stop him, and it all kind of culminates in this really big battle at the end.
Okay, we are getting into spoilers. I should have mentioned that already, but yeah, we're getting into those. But overall, what did you think of Infinity War? What's kind of your initial and first reaction?
I mean, my very first reaction was that I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
Okay.
Since then, I've come around to it a bit. I do really think that I need to see it again, and I want to see it again and probably will. It was just really just a very mixed reaction, because there were aspects of it that I really, really liked and enjoyed. There were things about it that I really just couldn't get into, where it lost my interest. And there are things just about the way the story was put together that really put me off and made me feel like it wasn't a very solid and complete film. So it was just really a mixed bag of emotions. I do think it is the best Avengers film compared to the previous two, for sure. But compared to a lot of the other Marvel films like Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok and the Guardians movies, it just really didn't stack up to those for me.
I'm with you there on it being the best Avengers movie, because I have seen the other 2 Avengers films. Not a huge fan. Like those, though, or like the first Avengers especially, there are times where this one just moved so slow for me, and I lost interest too. I'm out of the Marvel universe as far as not having seen some of the films, so some of the characters were totally new to me. But overall, I enjoyed it. I really did.
Were you still able to follow everything pretty well, having not seen like most of the films, because I know like the first Guardians movie really like introduces Thanos a lot more and his relationship with Gamora and Nebula, who are his daughters.
No, I figured that, and I did follow it well, but I didn't have like the emotional connection or just any connection really at all to the characters that I didn't know, like Doctor Strange or the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I would say that, but I was able to follow it because, I mean, the story was kind of simple.
It's
it was
pretty
just like
simple, yeah.
the bad guys trying to get the stones.
Right,
We're going to stop him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's important to see the previous films just because when they have a movie like Avengers where they're putting all of these characters into one thing, there's no room for character development. That all happens in their solo movies. So, like, we got to know Black Panther in his movie. We got to know more about Thor in his movies and the Guardians in theirs. So we don't really learn anything new or interesting about the characters in this movie at all. They're just kind of thrown in. And I mean, really, from the get-go, we're just right in the action. It picks up right where Thor Ragnarok left off, actually, because that film ended with their ship being approached by Thanos' ship. Characters are like, okay, well, Thanos is coming, so let's go grab Iron Man and this guy and try and stop him. Overall, this film went to dark places that Marvel has never gone before, and I really wasn't expecting them to go as far as they did. So I do applaud them for that because I really did not think that they were going to be that gutsy, but that they were.
Yeah, they were. So we had a few deaths. Well, we had more than a few deaths.
Like everybody's dead.
Okay. You're right. But before the ending, I mean, there were a few, like, I thought they were going to kill Iron Man. Like, I thought, oh, this is it.
It was so funny, like, in the theater when I saw it at that part where Thanos stabs him in the stomach, everybody in the theater just goes, no! And it really made you think, because I never thought that they would kill off Iron Man. That just never even crossed my mind. And there was this, even though, of course, he doesn't die, there was this real moment of fear that, oh my God, is this the end of Tony Stark? And I think that is a testament to the film and how they really like raised the stakes with it and, you know, made people feel like, okay, now more than in any other Marvel movie before, there's this real threat to these heroes.
Yeah. No, I was like, well, he's been there 10 years. The timing, it might just be right. Robert Downey Jr., he might be ready to move on, you know? So they had me going there for a minute, so. But he was saved. Thank you, Doctor Strange, I guess. I mean, Doctor Strange kind of sacrificed everyone else for Tony Stark to live, but he's seen the future, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're led to believe that. And yeah, I can't remember what exactly his line is, but he says something like, this is the only way, or this is the way that we have to do this.
Yeah. Let's talk about the other major deaths before the ending. So, very beginning of the movie, we lose Loki.
I'm kind of surprised I haven't heard more people talking about that because Loki is really one of those like major fan favorite characters. So for them to go there and off him in the opening scene was very bold and definitely set the tone for the movie. At the same time, because the movie is, you know, jumping from character to character and scene to scene so quickly, I feel like we never really got to feel the emotion of that loss. And like Thor never really got a chance to mourn his brother or show a ton of like really serious emotion over losing his brother. I mean, he meets up with the Guardians later and talks about it, but they kind of play it off as like a joke almost. It's really weird.
And then the other death would be Gamora, which I could understand the whole setup between Thanos being her, you know, adopted father in a way. So
yeah. I mean, for me, that was the most emotional part of the movie because I do really love the Guardians of the Galaxy so much. They're some of my favorites. So that was a really hard loss to take. But also, I just feel like in general, she and Thanos just had the best scenes in terms of character scenes. I mean, Thanos is really like the most complicated character in this movie. Mm-hmm. That was really, really important for them to nail because he's not only one of the most famous villains in the Marvel comics. Like I mentioned earlier, they've been teasing his appearance in these movies since 2012. So it's been several years that we've been waiting for Thanos to appear on screen in a major role. And they just really needed to get it right. And I feel like they did, because he was a very powerful and real threat. At the same time, we could see that he wasn't completely invincible. And then he also had this connection to Gamora that sort of humanized him a little bit. I mean, we did see that he had some sort of emotion, however twisted it may be. And Josh Brolin, who plays him, I thought did a really great job. And
so good.
I was really happy with the way Thanos was portrayed. And like that final scene that we see him in, where he's just sitting amongst the ruins of his planet with the stones, I thought was really beautiful.
Of course, all the deaths at the end, he wipes out half the universe. And then we just start losing all of these characters. Oh my goodness.
That was so weird, because I know he's supposedly wiped out half the universe, but I feel like we really only got to see how it affected the heroes.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel about just the movie as a whole. It didn't really feel like a global threat like it was.
At least we weren't knocking down buildings and stuff, though.
That's true. That's probably coming in the next Avengers film. But yeah, I mean, that was just really, it was like really confusing at first. And the characters were also very confused, because, you see them all start to disintegrate, and the characters disintegrating are kind of looking around like, what's going on? And the other heroes watching this happen are like, what's going on? And the audience, of course, is like, oh my God, what's going on? Are they really all dying? And the only character who really seems to have an awareness of what's happening, and this was like definitely one of the most emotionally devastating moments of the movie, was Peter Parker.
Yeah,
his Spidey sense kicked in, I think, and he just has this moment where he's at first like, I don't feel good, and then this I don't want to go, and this just pleading, and it's a fantastic performance from Tom Holland, and it also really just shows that Peter Parker, he's a kid, he's a teenager in high school, and he's just really probably in over his head with all of this that's happening, and he has so much ahead of him. So to be suddenly confronted with his death was just terrifying to him, and that was absolutely one of the most heartbreaking scenes in all of Marvel.
It
for
hurt.
Sure. And then to see how it affected Tony, who's kind of dragged him all into this in the first place, was really sad. And I'm really interested to see how he deals with that loss in the next movie.
We even lost Black Panther, though. I was just in shock as this was happening, really. But yeah.
Out of the big heroes, really, all of the original Avengers are the ones who are left. And I think that's so interesting. And that's really going to, I think, bring a lot more of an emotional conflict in the next movie. Because the way Captain America Civil War left off, all of those original Avengers were still kind of fighting. They hadn't fully worked out their issues. They allude to that in the beginning of this movie. They're asking Tony to call Captain America Steve Rogers. And, he's saying that they're not on speaking terms, and ultimately it's Bruce Banner who makes the call. So they never really got a chance to resolve their issues in this movie, and I'm sure that's going to be a big part of the next film, that they're going to have to come together and figure out a way to, of course, work together to defeat Thanos.
Right. Total cliffhanger, of course. The next movie will be out next year. The only thing in between will be Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel comes out like 2 months before it, and Ant-Man and Wasp comes out this summer.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And, of course, Ant-Man wasn't in this movie. They mention at some point that he and Hawkeye are kind of out of the picture because of their families. And then the end credit scene of this movie is where we see that Nick Fury
is alive.
Pops up. Thank goodness, because how can you have an Avengers movie without Nick Fury, who got the band together in the first place? Anyway.
Well, he's not alive now, but
wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was calling Captain Marvel, who is out there somewhere, and I'm sure we'll figure out what she's up to in her movie. But I'm sure that they're going to bring back a lot of those heroes in some way. I just don't know quite how yet.
And the big battle at the end in Wakanda, Wakanda forever. I loved the girl power moment Black Widow.
Scarlet Witch. I think it's Okoye. But yeah, they all kind of, team up, and that was really fun to watch. And I like the moment where, because Scarlet Witch was like hiding in the city because she was waiting to try and destroy the stone after they took it out of Vision's head, and she ends up ultimately going down on the field to the battle and just like wipes out all these big things instantly. And Okoye is like, well, why has she been up there all this time?
Yeah.
So that was really great.
And I love when Thor comes back.
I was about to say that was one of, I was really hoping this movie would have more moments like that, but that was definitely just one of those like huge pivotal moments, especially since in Ragnarok, Thor loses his hammer. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the original hammer's name, but so to have him go and get this new hammer thing or axe, I don't know what it is, but I just love the way they shot that scene where you see him, on that planet. He's just like lying on the ground, but his hand is open and kind of twitching toward this weapon. And then the next time we see him, he's landing in Wakanda, weapon in hand. And that was one of the moments where everybody in the theater just started screaming. That it was really cool. And there were really just a lot of fun little details in general that you wouldn't pick up on if you weren't up on the Marvel movies, but if you are, it was like, oh, that's cool how they tied that in. One of my favorite things that was just kind of silly was the fact that I believe it's in Guardians 2, Rocket's like telling Groot to like go find other things, and he brings back this guy's eye, and Rocket's like, oh, I'm going to keep it because when the guy wakes up, he's not going to have his eye, ha ha ha. And it was just kind of like this throwaway joke in the movie. And now in this movie, they come back, and Thor, of course, lost his eye in Ragnarok. And Rocket's like, oh, hey, I have like this eye for you. And Thor just pops it in. And I was like, I cannot believe that they brought back that random eyeball from Guardians 2 and gave it to Thor. I was dying over that.
Yeah.
That was honestly one of my favorite parts. But yeah, just little things like that are really kind of fun.
Right.
If you've seen the other movies.
And would you say there was a good balance? I know that was something you were worried about, balancing out the characters and still having some sort of storyline.
I mean, I actually think that they did a really decent job of balancing out all of the characters. I mean, they did have to separate them to do that, and I think that worked pretty well, just kind of having them all off in these different little groups working together. And there are definitely some characters who we see more than others. I was really surprised that Captain America wasn't in this more, because I feel like he was kind of the feature of the trailers. Mm-hmm. So that was a little misleading, but like, it's fine. We have another movie, and Chris Evans just got to stand there and look nice, so it was fine. This movie feels like half of a movie because it really does just end. And it's funny because it was originally titled Infinity War Part 1, and the next movie was going to be Infinity War Part 2. And they dropped those subtitles because Kevin Feige, president of Marvel, said they're really like two distinct stories. They stand on their own. No, I don't. I mean, I'll wait to pass final judgment until next year when we see the next Avengers film and get the full picture. But this, to me, does not feel like a complete movie, and that's definitely something I really had a problem with. I really wanted a little bit more of a resolution or like a finite ending. It really just kind of snuck up on me, and I was like, I think this movie's about to end, but it doesn't feel like it should be ending right here. So that was something that I had a problem with, but they did a decent job, I think, giving the characters ample amount of time.
I would say it's really Thanos' movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, and those are our thoughts on Infinity War. I say see it, Katie.
And I feel like you have to see it.
Right.
Just because it's such a big movie.
It's an event movie.
So I would say see it for that reason.
Okay, cool. Getting into our Disney download news now. We're going to start in parks news this time, and want to wish Animal Kingdom a happy 20th birthday. That was celebrated on April 22nd, Earth Day. It opened in 1998. I was there in the opening year. That was my first trip to Walt Disney World. I love Animal Kingdom. I feel like it's kind of an underrated park a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of great memories. They had a celebration ceremony kind of thing that morning, and it was live streamed, of course, with Disney Parks blog. And and Joe Road spoke, so that's always great. And yeah, I mean, it was cute. And so I posted some pictures on my Instagram, and it's neat because this is the only park I've been alive for, and I guess you too, Katie, that opened when we were around, and the only like Walt Disney World park.
Yeah, I mean, I do actually, even though I didn't go to Animal Kingdom like the year that it opened, like you did, I do remember like hearing about it opening and seeing things on TV about it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I do remember all of that happening, and I remember my first visit there was when they were building the Everest ride. So I remember like looking out and seeing that under construction and going through and looking at all the animals and yeah, I mean, I would agree it's an underrated park because it's really, really beautiful. You know, it's not one that you go to for like the rides, even though there are some great rides there. But it's just really beautiful to walk around and enjoy the scenery.
Yeah, it's the biggest Disney park, and it's fascinating how they really created it. I was going back and watching some behind the scenes videos and making of videos. You mentioned you remembered one of the previews or commercials, I guess, for the park when it was opening. Do you remember the one where, and I remembered this, but I found it on YouTube, and it's the one where like this little light is going through this workshop and it passes Magic Kingdom and Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and then it opens up the Tree of Life and it's doing the Circle of Life, and you see all these animals coming out. Do you remember that?
I don't think I remember that.
Okay, I'll have to send you a link because that's the promo I remember as a kid, and it was so exciting. But yeah, I have lots of great memories. I posted a throwback picture that's actually really creepy because it's this female monkey from Journey into the Jungle Book. Yeah, the show was called Journey into the Jungle Book, and it only lasted maybe 2 years or less than that, I think, because it's at the theater. It was at the theater where Finding Nemo, the musical, is at now. Between those shows, they had Tarzan Rocks. You might remember that.
No, sorry.
Also wanted to mention that they announced a new attraction of sorts that day. And, you know, with Pandora being there now, there's a little less opportunity for character meet and greets. Or I should say, like, there's not a great location. They're kind of all over the parks, and I was there last year and noticed that the characters are kind of all through the park rather than all kind of in Camp Mini Mickey like they were. So they have this new place called Donald's Dino Bash, and you're going to have Donald and Daisy. You're also going to have Scrooge McDuck, and get this, Launchpad McQuack. So he's really going to be there. And then there's even some pictures of, well, you got Pluto, and then there's pictures of Chip and Dale in dinosaur costumes.
Interesting.
So, yeah, very interesting, very interesting. Over at Magic Kingdom, the purple wall, oh my goodness, it's got half of the wall now kind of has this spaceship sort of print on it, it seems like. But yeah, have you seen those pictures?
I think so. I know I heard about it.
Yeah.
I just don't really care.
Right. Well, I took a purple wall photo last year. And yeah, I feel like my picture is out of date now, but I'll go back and take it again. I'll go back just for that. How about that? No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I would say Disney has definitely taken notice to the fact that these walls are a thing on social media.
Oh, they definitely have.
Yeah. Like I've seen stuff like videos and where they're actually promoting the wall photos, like with Oh My Disney or Disney Style or something. So
yeah.
I feel like the purple wall might have been kind of the OG wall that people started taking pictures in front of.
Are you sure it wasn't the blue wall?
Yeah, I know. I've heard that.
I feel like it's the blue wall.
I think it was the purple.
And then people went to Disney World and were like, oh, wow, they have a purple wall here.
I love how you're not phased at all. This is a non-story for Katie. All right. Jumping over to Disneyland, PIXAR Fest has begun, and this is leading up to, of course, Pixar Pier, which is opening in June of this year. And lots of fun things going on. We've got Paint the Night back, except it's at Disney California Adventure. And then the Pixar Play Parade is now in Disneyland, so they just kind of switched there.
So weird to me.
Yeah, the monorails are decorated with Pixar characters. Decorations are out. They've got like a cute little sign up. There's new food, merch. I saw lots of pictures on social media.
Oh, me too.
They had lots of photo ops set up there too for pictures. And then there's also a new fireworks show / castle projection show, and it's called Together Forever, a Pixar Nighttime Spectacular. I watched a video of it. It's cute. Like, it's no happily ever after, but it still gave me chills and that sort of thing. I didn't feel like the characters and films were equally featured. I would have liked a little bit more of that, but Coco was in there, so I was really happy to see that. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Pixar Fest does look really fun. I really wish I could go. I like seeing all the different like food offerings that they've got and all of that. So yeah, I mean, it looks fun. I'm not really into it being like a permanent thing, but
Right.
But yeah, I like seeing all the pictures and stuff.
Yep. Katie, what'd you set on fire? Since we last recorded, I think right after we did our last episode, Disney announced that they are bringing some Marvel lands to Disney parks, and one of them will be at Disneyland. And this has been rumored. It's going to replace the area of Bugs Land. So that's over with now. I think it's already closed, right? So, yeah.
I really like Bugs Land. I have a lot of good memories of working in Bugs Land.
Oh,
but also,
okay.
I mean, it's really like a kiddie park. Like the rides are more for like the younger kids. So I could see how they would get rid of it. But just like the decor is really cool and how it makes you feel like you're a little bug. And the best ride is Heimlich's Choo Choo Train. It's so good. I'm just so upset that that's gone.
I was not expecting that.
It's so funny.
Aw.
It's so funny. Oh,
Well,
man.
anyway.
I mean, it makes sense for it to go there too because that is really like right next to Mission Breakout, so they'll be able to kind of just bridge, or incorporate that into the new land pretty seamlessly. But
Right.
it's mixed
Okay.
emotions. I'll say
Okay.
that.
The Marvel-themed areas will also be going to Disneyland Paris and Hong Kong Disneyland. So, in TV news, Kim Possible, I believe we talked about the announcement of a live-action DCOM for Kim Possible. The casting has now been announced, and that was quick, if you ask me, because I feel like it was a week ago that they announced the movie. But yeah, so Sadie Stanley, she's 16, she'll be KP. This is an introduction role for her. She's not done anything else, apparently, from what I read. And then Sean Giabrone from The Goldbergs, he's 18. I don't think I've seen him on that show, but I've seen him in something else. But yeah, they look the part for sure. I really enjoyed the social media announcement of this because they featured Christy Carlson Romano and Will Friedle, who were the original voices of KP and Ron. And yeah, I mean, it was cute to see them back together, and they were dressed up as Kim and Ron, and they did like this little fake audition where they didn't really do a good job, and the directors were kind of alluding to them being too old, and I was like, you know what? I really don't care. I would so be down for a live action Kim Possible with, like, they could be older now. Like, Christy
Yeah.
Carlson Romano and Ron
It could
Stoppable.
work. It could
And
work.
Will Friedle could play the original characters, so... Or just give us another animated movie. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think they look the part?
I think I need to see them in costume first. I don't know.
Well, it definitely felt like Will and Christy were giving their blessing.
Yeah.
Although it was just kind of sad. Like, I was like, no, I want them. So, yeah. Okay. In movie news, we have a look at our first photo from Dumbo, which will be coming out, the live action Dumbo. And that's coming out next March. This was released at CinemaCon. Actually, I'm not sure that it was released. I think someone just took a photo and maybe they weren't supposed to, and it wound up on Twitter. But yeah, so I now see Dumbo for the first time, the new Dumbo. You have seen this at D23. It's not dark like Tim Burton, you might assume, but yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's super cute. I feel like the design really is a nice balance of realistic and cartoony.
Right.
Yeah.
Also at CinemaCon, they released kind of the new lineup for 2018 to 2019. Mulan is no longer on that lineup, and I think we already knew that it's being pushed to 2020. And there's some rumors going around that you might like to mention, Katie.
The rumors would be that the amazing and wonderful and iconic character of Li Shang is not going to be in this live action feature. And it's going to be replaced by some new characters who will be filling that role. And based on the casting, like the casting calls and announcements, it looks that way. I mean, because they've announced a few more cast members over the last few weeks, and their characters are not characters from the animated movie. Whatever summary I read online, I don't know how accurate this is, but it said that this character would be a rival for Mulan, and it wouldn't be until he finds out that she's a woman that he likes her and then starts to feel, and I think it said like something like love or something. It was like something along those lines. And I was like, really? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, and a lot of people have been saying that they're doing this because they're like, oh, Disney like accidentally created a bisexual icon with Shang, and now they're trying to erase that. And you can read that into the original movie if you want to. I just feel like one of the most powerful things about the animated movie is this like really close bond that Shang and Mulan under the guise of Ping develop. And when he does find out that she's a woman, he isn't mad because she's a woman. He's mad because she lied to him and he got really close to this person.
They might just be taking it in a totally different direction. I don't know. Like, I want them to do something different, but no, don't take away Shang.
No.
We'll see what happens with Mulan. Hopefully they don't mess it up. The last little topic under movie news: Peter Pan is coming to Blu-ray May 29th. It's the 65th anniversary of Peter Pan this year, but I already have this movie on Blu-ray. Katie, you do too. So yeah, if you want to go get it, go get it. It's the Walt Disney Signature Collection now, but I believe I have the Diamond edition or something. So yeah. All right, well, that's all I've got for today. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Disconnected. Katie, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You can follow mine and Katie's social media links in the description below. And for more Disconnected content, you can follow at Disney_connected on Instagram. And until next time, have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon, folks.